गणपति बापा मोदिया। ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः, त्रिसिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोदिया। ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः, त्रिसिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोदिया।
ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः, श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोरिया।
ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः, श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोदिया। गणपते नमो नमः, त्रिसिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोदिया। ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः, त्रिसिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोदिया।
ओम गम गणपते नमो नमः, श्री सिद्धि विनायक नमो नमः, अष्टविनायक नमो नमः, गणपति बापा मोरिया।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
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 दुर्गे माँ दुर्गे दुर्गे जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काल कृपालिनी माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काल कृपालिनी माँ।
जगदोदारिणी माँ।
जगदोदारिणी माँ।
देवी जय 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 माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे माँ दुर्गे दुर्गे जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे दुर्गे तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। सरराह दिखा करके उधार करो दुर्गा। उधार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। सदराह दिखा करके उधार करो दुर्गा। उधार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी। दर्शन हो माँ तेरे, सबकी अभिलाषा है। मन में रहो तुम सबके, तुमसे ही आशा है। दर्शन हो माँ तेरे, सबकी अभिलाषा है। मन में रहो तुम सबके, तुमसे ही आशा है। क्या मेरा क्या उसका, ये अपना पराया क्या। सब ज्योति जला करके रोशन करो जग सारा। रोशन करो जग सारा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी। संसार तो माया है, कभी धूप कभी छाया है। एक दिन उसे जाना है, जो भी यहाँ आया है। संसार तो माया है, कभी धूप कभी छाया है। एक दिन उसे जाना है, जो भी यहाँ आया है। क्या रंग है जीवन का, क्या रूप है मानव का। तुम ज्ञान भरा करके उपकार करो दुर्गा। उपकार करो दुर्गा। तुम विनती सुनो सबकी, कल्याण करो जग का। जग की रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली, हो जगदम्बे मैया। जग की रखवाले करने वाली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली, ओ जगदम्बे मैया। जग की रखवाले करने वाली
जगदम्बे मैया की रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया।
तेरी दया से जीते हैं मैया, तेरी भरोसे चलती है नैया।
तेरी दया से जीते हैं नैया, तेरी भरोसे चलती है नैया।
सबकी घर घर में है दीवाली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली, ओ जगदम्बे मैया।
जग की रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया।
दुखियों के घर में सुख का बसारे, अंधिया में घर में दिया जला दे।
दुखियों के घर में सुख बसारे, अंधियारे घर में दिया जलाए।
सबकी मितारे राते काली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली, ओ जगदम्बे मैया। जग की रखवाली करने वाली
जगदम्बे मैया। जग की रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया।
चरणों में बैठे आशा लगाए, विनती हमारी काली न जाए। चरणों में बैठे आशा लगाए, विनती हमारी
काली न जाए।
ले लो ये आरती की थाली जगदम्बे मैया, महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली, ओ जगदम्बे मैया।
जग की रखवाले करने वाले जगदम्बे मैया।
महिमा तुम्हारी है निराली, ओ जगदम्बे मैया। जग की रखवाले करने वाली जगदम्बे मैया, जग की रखवाले करने वाली जगदम्बे मैया। सरस्वसुपावन शकी है तीजो मैया पार हे आनंद स्वरूपनी मन हृदय कर पूज्या जय माँ जय माँ आराधन तेरा करूं निश दिन आतोया घट अंतर शक्ति जगे गाओ तब शून्य जय माँ जय माँ पतित पावनी मात है बालक शरण तिहार मंगल में वरदान रे यही विनती बारंबार जय माँ जय जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी माँ जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी माँ क्या मन हरना सुहाया है क्या मन हरना सुहाया है पालो सब कुछ माँ चरणों पर पालो सब कुछ माँ चरणों पर मेरे मन कोई बाया है जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी माँ जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी माँ जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ हे प्रेम पुंज है करुणा में है आदिशक्ति जगत जननी माँ जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ हे प्रेम पुंज है करुणा में है आदिशक्ति जगत जननी माँ तेरा वर रहस्य मेरे बीच रहे तेरा वर रहस्य मेरे बीच रहे बालक तेरी शरण में आया है बालक तेरी शरण में आया है जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी माँ जगदम्बिके जय जय जगजननी माँ जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ गुरुदेव की अंदर बैठ के माँ तुमने के रोगो तेरा का जय माँ जय माँ जय माँ गुरुदेव की अंदर बैठ के माँ तुमने के रोगो तेरा का उस मंदिर में समय आकर के उस मंजुल में समय आकर के पतिरोग
को गले लगाया है, दुखियों को गले लगाया है। जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां, जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां। श्री राम तु ही, श्री कृष्ण तु ही, दुर्गा काली श्री राधा तू जय मां, जय मां, जय मां। श्री राम तू ही, श्री कृष्ण तू ही, दुर्गा काली श्री राधा तू। ब्रह्मा विष्णु शिव शंकर में, ब्रह्मा विष्णु शिव शंकर है, तेरा ही तेज समाया है, तेरा ही तेज समाया है। जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां, जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां। ओ नमस्कार मेरे बारंबार है, शक्ति तिहारे चरणों में। जय मां, जय मां, जय मां। ओ नमस्कार मेरे बारंबार है, शक्ति तिहारे चरणों में। मुझे अधम पतित दुखियारे हो, मुझे अधम पतित दुखियारे हो, करुणा करो हृदय लगाया है, करुणा कर हृदय लगाया है। जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां, जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां। जय मां, जय मां, जय मां, जय मां। जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां, जगदम्बिके जय जय जगदम्बिके मां। दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार। महिमा पारम्पारे दुर्गा मैया, महिमा पारम्पारे दुर्गा मैया। मैया 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 महिमा पारम्पार दुर्गा मैया, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार। हाथ त्रिशूला बैर सवारी, हाथ त्रिशूला बैर सवारी, तीन नयन मुखपाट पुरारी, तीन नयन मुखपाट पुरारी। दुर्गा मैया, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार, दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम्पार, महिमा पारम्पार पारे दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पारे दुर्गा मैया 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 महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया
महिमा पारम पार।
निरंकार है ज्योति तुम्हारी निरंकार है ज्योति तुम्हारी तीनहु लोक पहले उजियारी तीनहु लोक पहले उजियारी दुर्गा मैया दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार महिमा पारम पारे दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पारे दुर्गा मैया 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 महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया
महिमा पारम पार।
कार्तिक दास जागो माता कार्तिक दास जागो माता सच मोही दीजियो माँ सच मोही दीजियो माँ दुर्गा मैया दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार महिमा पारम पारे दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पारे दुर्गा मैया 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 महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार दुर्गा मैया महिमा पारम पार।
प्रेम से बोले श्री आदि शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की। Let us all put the hands together, close the physical eyes. As we concentrate and meditate upon that divine master, asking for guidance and protection, we all pray. गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपेतजम्बूफलसारभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पारपङ्कजम्। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु सरस्वतीरूपेण संस्कृता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर् साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। नागेन्द्रहारं त्रिलोचनाय भस्माङ्गरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय। ॐ अञ्जनीगर्भासनमुखो वायुपुत्रो महाबलः कुमारो ब्रह्मचारी च हनुमान में प्रसिद्ध में। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु भगवती रूपेण संस्कृता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु क्रान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ जयन्ती मंगला काली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा क्षमा शिवे धात्री स्वाहा स्वधा नमोस्तुते। ॐ जयन्ती मंगला काली भद्रकाली कपालिनी दुर्गा क्षमा शिवे धात्री स्वाहा स्वधा नमोस्तुते। आज शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की जय। प्रेम से बोले श्री आज शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की। So devotees and friends, last evening we had such a wonderful katha. I hope none of the young children ain't angry with me after last night. But my dear friends and my dear children, my dear devotees of God, we must all remember, yes, we must all remember that there are restricted areas, you know. And so, how many of us like to be restricted? How many of us, my dear friends, when our parents tell us that, hey, listen, this is not what we are supposed to be doing, this is not what you're supposed to be doing, you become angry and you're ready to fight. I'm not talking about physical fight with your parents, but I'm talking about the fight of your thought and your mind. This evening, my dear friends, our katha will take us into a wonderful part, a part where we will actually see how important this mind is, and how, if we allow ourselves, my dear friends, to do the wrong things, the price that we'll have to pay. Last night again, I told you all that if your finger is placed into the fire and you are not aware that the fire is going to burn your finger, you think that you will be able to pull your finger back out without getting burned, although you didn't know that the fire will burn. No. But what will happen the very first time you put your finger into the fire, you pull it back very quickly. But if the second time you go to put your finger into the fire, it will remain there a little longer and you will be hurt even more, because you know what you're going to meet now. And this is what we do as human beings. We continue to make the same mistake again and again and again, and go back and do the same thing again and again and again. And each time, my dear friends, the punishment becomes greater and greater and greater. But because of this attachment, because of the sentiments, because of all of this, my dear friends, we fail to withdraw ourselves or perform that vairagya or the dispassion to what the whole situation may be. This evening I'm very far from where we started yesterday, but somehow this evening Katha again will link what happened yesterday. Let us commence. Jai 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 Devi Jai Jai Ma Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma. You know, all the days going by, nobody is singing with me, you know. Jai Jai Devi Jai Jai Ma Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma. Ambe Bhavani Mata Ambe Bhavani Ambe Bhavani Mata Ambe Bhavani Jai Jai Jagadamba Bhavani
Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani Jai 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 Jagadamba Jai Jai Ma Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma
Jai Jai Devi Jai Jai Ma Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma.
हे राजन बहुत दिनों तक इस प्रकार बैठे रहने के कारण उन पर धीमक काके चिंतियं चंद्रा गया और उनसे वे धीर गए वे बुद्धे समान मुनि पुरे तरह से मिट्टी के ढेर सदृश हो गए थे। जय जय देवी जय जय मां। लक्ष्मी की तुलन करने वाले तात चरण चन स्वभवा भाली वहां सुकयन सुकन्या वान में आकर सुंदर फूलों की चूनते हुए जय जय देवी जय जय मां जय जगदम्बा भवानी मां। अम्बे भवानी माता अम्बे भवानी अम्बे भवानी माता अम्बे भवानी अम्बे भवानी माता अम्बे भवानी।
जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी।
आदि शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की जय। So devotees and friends, here this evening we are talking about a king by the name of Sarayati. When you read this katha, you would see that, okay, the king had many queens and all of that, but that is not the point of the katha this evening. The point of the katha this evening is that it tells to us here, once on a time, King Sarayati wanted to play an artificial wilderness, and he came close to a lake that is resembling that of the Manosarovar. That Manosarovar is a very beautiful lake. It's a very holy lake, very divine lake. My dear friends, when he went there, the lake was filled with very clear, crystal-like water. And so around the lake was beautiful flowers and everything else. Devotees and friends, what what happened at that time. He carried his soldiers, he carried his children. But my dear friends, his very beautiful daughter, one of his daughter, Sukanya. Sukanya went with her friends also. Remember, it is a time they went for relaxation and all of that. And so, my dear friends, the father, king, he remained on one side and he was what with his soldiers and all of that. And the daughter and her friends were wandering. They were wandering, my dear friends, into the flower garden. So the father was on the southern side of the garden, and the children walked across to the northern side. You know how the children today do like to be around the parents. Dylan? The children believe that the parents is not the lineman partner. So this young girl, Sukayan, took her friends and they went to the northern side of the park. It's just only of recently when I was asked Anushka, say, carry me a little bit with you now. I just got a little hesitation. With Kandika, I don't have no hesitation anyway. She riding with me and I riding with her. I find these days Anushka being resentful a little bit, so I had to check out that a little bit. And I want to tell all parents, if you ask your children to go with you somewhere, let me go on a little small, relaxation and so on, and they decide they're not going with you, look at it closely, something wrong somewhere. Yeah, find out what is wrong. Devotees and friends, this child left the parents and the elders here, and they went on the northern side of the beautiful garden. And while they were walking around the flowers and everything, they're not doing anything wrong. But I want you to observe this evening, no matter how old your children are, when they are outside there, make sure they are supervised. Yes. We are not saying to put police, but at least have something in position that should, in case there be an emergency or something should happen, Sharvina, that you would always be able to get pulled out. I remember, and as I just talking that, I just remember, I was watching a movie once where the children separated Amitabh Bachchan and his wife. And the wife was with one of the sons, and the daughter was going out. And oh, how much attitude she gave to the grandmother. And when the grandmother realized something was wrong, and the grandmother went and bring her out of the troubles, and the grandmother helped out, telling her father, creating it in such a way that the child would not get into trouble. This is what I'm talking about. We need to always have our children, good tab with them. But today, we make our plans and then we tell our parents, no. Children, I want to tell to you, your children, your parents must know about your plan. You're going on your own is okay, fine, no problem. But let me know where you're going, when you're going, who you're going with. And that's important. If a parent don't do that, you're failing in your parenting. They'll say, but I's a big man, Marshall? They'll say, I's a big man. Vashti, what you asking me? Huh? So, devotees and friends, listen what happened now, and you will understand what I'm talking about. This girl with her friends, people remember, is of the same age group. On that side, they see a big ant's nest. The big ant's nest, and when she watched inside the ant's nest, she saw two shining things. She picked a thorn, a nice picker from the garden, and she decided now she's going to investigate what is this shining thing inside this ant hill. So she was about to choke the eyes of the ant's nest, whatever she's shining there. And so, devotees and friends, this is what happened. Let us listen. Jai Jai Devi, Jai Jai
Ma, Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma.
Ambe Bhavani Mata, Ambe Bhavani, Ambe Bhavani Mata, Ambe Bhavani.
Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani, Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani, Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani, Jai
Ambe
Jai
Bhavani Mata, Ambe Bhavani,
Ambe Bhavani Mata Ambe Bhavani, Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani, Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani, Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani.
Aaj Shakti Devi Durga Mata ki Jai. Jai Jai Devi, Jai Jai Ma,
जय जगदम्ब भवानी माँ।
या क्या है ऐसे जिज्ञासा होने पर उसने अवरन हाथ ने काम मन में निश्चया किया तत्पाशय छात्रम वहाँ सुंदरी एक नुकीला कंताम लोकर श्रृंग शीघ्रता पुरन काम में थे हाथ ने लगे जय जय देवी जय जय मां मुनि च्यावन ने वचरण करने वाली कामदेवा के श्री राति के सदृशातात सुंदर के शमवाले उस राजकुमारी को पास में स्थित होकर मीठे ते हाथों ने संज्ञान देखा जय देवी मां जय जगदम्ब भवानी मां मुनि के कहाने पर भी उसने उनकी भटे ना सुनी जय जय देवी
जय जय माँ
जय जगदम्ब भवानी मां अम्बे भवानी माता अम्बे भवानी माता अम्बे भवानी
जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी।
आज शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की So Dylan, if you see something strange, son, you don't want to investigate and know what it is. So my dear friends, it says this girl, this wonderful child of the king, decided, seeing these two shining things in the Hans Hill, Sukanya, my dear friends, decided she's going to investigate what it is. And devotees and friends, it says, with that thorn in her hands, she went towards the shining point into the ants' hill. But inside that ant hill was a saint. There was a great saint, my dear friends, who was performing tapasya. And he had his tapasya so intense. The devotees and friends, the ant hill, the ants built that hill over him. And only his eyes were showing. At that point, as she was about to do that, my dear friends, another saint came across by the name of Bhargav. And Bhargav told her, hey, that is not a good thing to do. Don't do it. How many will listen when we say it's not a good thing to do? Dylan? You broke up the line already? So then you're listening? My dear friends, how many young people, when they are given advice, they try to explore the path for themselves? Man, let them old people stay there, yes. They may know what they're saying. Devotees and friends, this great sage, Bhargav, told to her, this young girl, the princess, hey, listen, don't do that. But she decided she is going to investigate. Who is he to tell me, do not do what I am going to do? Who is Pandit to tell me, don't do what I have to do? I am going to do what I have to do because my friends don't make out all the plans already. So Pandit, you have no city. Money don't spend. Well, the father spend the money and he bring all of them there in the field. A great sage came and begged her and tell her in very nice words, child, don't do what you're going to do. And she still decided to do what she's going to do. And so, my dear friends, she pierced the 2 points, the 2 shining points that there was. It's a sage inside there. It's a sage, my dear friends, performing intense devotion. What do you think is inside of that? What was she seeing shining? The eyes of the saint. And if you take a thorn and you chuck it into the eyes of someone, what is going to happen? They become blind. So the sage become blind. And devotees and friends, you know, this evening we went a little bit on with the puja, so I have to condense the katha and bring it to you. So what happened, my dear friends? When this happened, it tells us, he says that all the animals, they could not have any excretion. None of them, every them, you know, as they say, they were stuffed now. And nobody couldn't have. They could not go off for urine, neither face, nothing. And if that happens, my dear friends, you know, in the process of prana, everybody believes prana is just air. But prana, my dear friends, is the air that we take in. Prana, again, is apana, where the air that you take in, make it circulation. That's another part of prana, the circulation. The absorption is another part of the prana, and then excretion is another part. So if there is no excretion, the whole system is going to shut down. So my dear friends, all the soldiers and animals and everything started to suffer. And the king became worried. He wanted to know what really happened. What is causing this? Because they just only come here for a matter of relaxation. And watch the amount of trouble comes. So not all relaxation, my dear friends, is trouble free. Always remember that. And we must take the caution and the warning of the elders. Sometimes we feel that the elders have a generation gap and they can't understand my position. So, devotees and friends, the katha continues. Very, very wonderful katha again. As it continues, Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Jai Jai Devi, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma. Jai Jai Devi, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jagadamba Bhavani Ma. Ambe Bhavani Mata, Ambe Bhavani. Ambe Bhavani Mata, Ambe Bhavani.
Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani. Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani. Jai 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 Jagadamba Bhavani.
Jai Jai Devi, Jai Jai Ma. व्यास जी बोले हे राजन, इस घटना से उतंताम चिंतितार जाम शयाति स्नेह उन सब से पूछने के। जय जय देवी, जय जय माँ, जय जगदम्बा भवानी माँ। वाचत शन्ते तातम उग्रता पुर का भीम, आपने बंधु नानी से पूछ। जय जय देवी, जय जय माँ, जय जगदम्बा भवानी माँ। हे पिताजी, उस समय मैंने देखा कि वहां सुई जल से भीगा गई थी और उसे भाल में का मीन हा हा की मंदा मंदा ध्यानी मुझे सुनाए पधे जय देवी माँ। हे राजन तभा में अश्चराय में पढ़ाम गई कि यहाँ क्या हो गया। जय जय देवी, जय जय माँ, जय जगदम्बा भवानी माँ। अम्बे भवानी माता, अम्बे भवानी, अम्बे भवानी माता, अम्बे भवानी।
जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी। जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी। जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी। जय 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 जगदम्बा भवानी।
आज शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की जय। So children of God, what is happening here now? The king very angry, and he called upon his soldiers, and he want to know in a very angry mood who it is who have caused this. Have you not found out? And he was very angry with the soldiers to find out who have created some trouble so that this whole situation could have happened. Devotees and friends, then, my dear friends, he asks his friends. He was angry, very angry words with the soldiers. But in very sweet words, he went to his friends now and find out if it's any one of them who have done something to cause this problem. My dear friends, his city was facing a lot of problem because there was no excretion. Everybody was constipated, all the animals, all the trees. And if the trees are not letting out the oxygen, what the people would take in, there's nothing to take in, you know? So this was causing, my dear friends, a great chaos into the community. And the king very angrily talked to the soldiers, so long and you are not finding out what it is. Very nicely he talked to the friends. And the friends did not know also. My dear friends, what did you think the daughter did? Nikhil, if it was you, what you would have do, boy? Dylan, if it was you, what you would have do? Sharvina, your daddy getting angry with everybody because all the people that who he has to take care of is suffering. They're in pain, they're in distress. And you did the wrong thing. What you going to do now? Let me hear. Eh? Of course. That is what the princess did. She went and confessed to her father. She said, Pitaji, it is I. When we were into the gardens and you were on the southern side, I went to the northern side with my friends. And there I observed the anthill. And I took a thorn and shook it in. Although I was advised by a saint there not to do what I did the same thing. Devotees and friends, immediately the king took his soldiers and went back into the gardens. What he went back there for? Think he gone back there now to beat the saint? The great saint who was there, my dear friends, his name was Chayavan. Chayavan. So he went back, my dear friends, and he ordered his soldiers immediately to break down the anthill. And there the sage, he saw the sage, my dear friends, very thin and old because of performing his devotion. And what he did? He was not proud. He did not have the abhiman, you know. Sometimes we know we make a wrong, and my dear friends, we start lying one time. He didn't go and make an excuse for his daughter. No, he didn't do that. He went and he fell at the feet. He says, Danvatkar. He fell flat out at the feet of the saint. And he said, "O great sage, it is my daughter who have done this to you. Please release the sufferings of my people." Devotees and friends, a good leader, first thing he do, he makes sure that is the request that he make. Please release my people from their sufferings. But my dear friends, when this child was about to take the thorn and chuck it into the eyes of the saint, you know, anything come into your eyes, you will get out of what you are, and you will observe. And he observed how beautiful this princess was. But now he is blind. So he told to the king, he says, "O king," he says, "I have no one here. I have no one here and nobody to take care of me. So, O king, I would like you now to give me your daughter hands in marriage so that she can take care of me now that I am blind." My dear friends, all the humility now that the king had, he started to beg now. You know, he's wondering, how am I going to give this child to this saint? My daughter is a very young girl. And this sage is such an old man. And this is what he's thinking now. Just as Gautama's Rishi's wife, Ahilya, got carried away with her young lustful feelings sometime with Lord Indra, so my daughter could fall away too. My daughter could now, because of her youth, and if the lust take over her body, then she might be unfaithful to this great sage. And then my daughter might reach the same fate that Ahilya got, which she was turned into a stone. So she will be punished by the saint. So he's thinking all of this, and from all that standpoint, he's trying to convince now the great saint, Chayavan, not to make that request. But Chayavan, my dear friends, was very much, he was strong, and that's all he wanted. Devotees and friends, or young children sometimes, they find themselves into a situation. And when the situation should come, when the reality to the reaction of that action comes, they cannot stand up to it. They will run away, my dear friends. They will make all sort of excuses. But remember, what this was. Why it is, you will say that this saint was hard-hearted, not so? You'd say that he was with a heart of a stone. Not so, Varshka? Because he's an old man and this is a young girl. But the lesson coming out of here is, no matter who you are, nobody else will eat your fruit. The seed that you plant, you have to reap that fruit yourself. Nobody else will reap it for you. So she shook the saint eye. She burst the saint eye. And it's she now who have to pay the price for it. The father cannot pay the price for it. And a lot of children, let's go away with this idea that my father or my mother is into a position, man, I could do what I want. They go pull me out of it. You all remember, my dear friends? You all remember Jayant? The son, whose son he was? He was the son of Lord Indra. Yeah, he was the son of the Lord Indra. And when Prabhu Sri Ram was walking with Sita into the forest, he said he's going to test Sri Ram's powers. And he went and he picked Sita's foot. And when the arrow of death leave for him, my dear friends, he started running and crying to everybody, begging for forgiveness. And nobody could give him forgiveness. He had to go straight back to the feet of Sri Ram and Sita Ma, asking for forgiveness. So my dear friends, again, that was just one. I can give you many, many examples. Prabhu Sri Ram told to Narad for his own good. He said he gave Narad a monkey face because Narad wanted to get married. When Narad recognized that the Lord had given to him a monkey face, he told the Lord, he said, look, listen, you will have to suffer the separation of your wife, the pains of the separation of your wife, and monkeys will have to help you get her back. And that Sri Hari came back as Sri Ram. He had to suffer the pains of the separation of his wife as she went into Lanka, and it was monkeys had to help her back. So my dear friends, even from Prabhu Sri Ram shows to us that nobody Nobody pays the price for another person. You have your own karma to pay. Nobody takes anybody's karma. We believe sometimes, Munish, that somebody might hurt me. And if I help them, I am taking their karma. You cannot take nobody karma. I cannot take nobody karma. All I could do is to guide you, to help you out of your karma. And that is what devotion is all about. That is what the jap, that is what meditation, that is what Havan, Homa, does for us. So this child accepted, my dear friends, you know, as young people, we love to lie to get out ourselves out of trouble, you know. Sorry, I withdraw that. As human beings, we love to lie to get out of our troubles. Because I know of old people who lying all over the place to get out of their difficulties and their shameness. We all try to lie to get out of it. This young girl teaches us a lesson this evening. Stop telling lies. Be truthful and face what the consequences have for it. So I just tell now, you know, I stop telling people, don't do this and don't do that. All you want to do it, go and do it. But this is the consequences it have for it. You want to leave the yajna and go online, you go ahead. You go ahead. When the consequences come to you, then remember it's you have to pay it. I might feel sad for you, but it is you who have to pay it. Then all the money that your friends spend wouldn't be able to help you out of your subconscious thoughts. Because I want to tell to you, my dear friends, when a wrong thing happened to you, and everybody forgive you and say that we forgive you, you know you don't forgive yourself. And you want me to tell you how you don't forgive yourself, Parisha? That situation remains deep down in your subconscious mind. And sometimes 10 years, 15 years from the day that it happened, it pop up itself back on the active mind and it starts to worry you there and then again. So it comes to haunt you, you know, my dear friends. So Swami Chinmayananda tells to us, he says, the mind is the Satan that has come to haunt our divine, blissful nature. No war is as sacred and as universal as the inner war for peace that each one of us wages in silence and devotion. And let me tell you where the Satan is. The Satan is the same friend and them we believe, who trying to pull us away from the religious path, from the divine path. Those are the Satans. Because when you find yourself in trouble, nobody here coming there for you. Remember, Sampati and his brother going up, and the ego in Sampati, when his brother tell him, he said they were traveling to the sun. When the brother told to him, he said, listen brother, let me turn back, the sun going to damage us. The older brother, the younger one feel that, oh man, he's so mighty, so strong. He said, you go back if you want, brother, what's going to happen? He didn't fight too far, and the sun burned every feather from him. If a bird doesn't have a feather, you think he could stand up there? No, he was a vulture. And they go high. But my dear friends, if they have no feathers, they cannot balance. So he come down, falling down below. And when he was coming and he was calling for help, there was no one to help him, save and except Rishi Chandrama. And the first thing that Rishi Chandrama taught him to do was to get rid of his Abhiman. How to charhawi his Abhiman. So devotees and friends, Jatayu, the brother of Sampati, When he begged him and he said, brother, let me go back, and he didn't want to go back. He said, all right, well, go ahead. But when these feathers burn, Jatayu feathers didn't burn. Jatayu stay in his old age to be of help to Sri Ram, to tell Sri Ram who took Sita and where she went. Yeah. So my dear friends, children of God, young ones, old ones, if you want to disobey the rulings of the universe, which tells to you, do not abandon divinity for any other pleasure, then you go ahead. Go ahead. Principle Shinam Chandra Bhagavan ki. But these Swamis and they are not little fools. When they put these words together, it comes from deep within their heart for the benefit of all of us who are the fools of the world, because we don't listen. And anyone who don't listen to good advice is a fool. And so he says, my dear friends, the mind is the Satan that has come to haunt our divine, blissful nature. There is no war as the sacred and the universal as the inner war for peace that each one of us wages in silence and devotion. Devotees and friends, the mind, the fearful enemy, will prove to be nothing but a bundle of impression created by thoughts of the past, which in turn creates the thought of the present and will be the sufferings or the rewards or the blessings of the future. Yeah. So devotees and friends, all that the king tried, he tried, my dear friends. The king said, O Muni, O great sage, be angry not. And the king says, no, I am not angry, but I have no one. I have no one, and you will have to give me your daughter. And this is the only way I am going to release all of the troubles. Devotees and friends, the father went back home. The father went back home, my dear friends, and he was very worried. He was very troubled in his mind. And devotees and friends, the daughter came to him again and says, Father, what is worrying you? Why are you so sad? And the father told her, parents, you must not be afraid to tell your children what the situation is. Sometimes because of our ego, we hide it from our children. But the reality of life is that we must allow our children to know what is happening so that they can make the necessary adjustments. The child come crying, and the child want this, and the child want that, and the child want the other. And the parent have the last dollar to buy something for the child to eat. And because, my dear friends, of the love and the sentiments and the attachment for the child, they would not tell the child that. Nothing is wrong in telling the child that. When you have to give the child a little punishment, you must let the child know what they get in it for. Don't punish them. Don't give them sanctions if you don't tell them why. If after they want to do what they had to do, you go ahead. When the finger gets burned, you have nothing to say. Let them take the plaster and rub their burned finger. Prem Sabalashinam Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, when he told her what has happened, the daughter said, "Oh Father." She told to him, she says, "Father, I will marry and make sure all your people becomes happy and trouble-free." She says, "Oh Father, I want you to take away this clothes, this princess clothes now, and give me the back, give me the skin of the deer, so that I can go out there." She says, and Surya Mata, the wife of Atri Muni, was able, she was able to make a name for herself. She was able, as the wife of a saint, to be, to be loved all through the world. The wife of Vashishta, Arunadhati, she made herself, famous by being the wife of a saint. I am going to be truly the wife of a saint. Take away all this queen-like clothes and give me the clothes of a saint, and I am going to marry the saint. Devotees and friends, and the king, with a grievous heart, accompanied by his ministers and his daughter, he then released her and he bade her goodbye, as she was ready now to take care of the great saint Chayavana. Tomorrow evening, we will listen how she took care and what happened thereafter. But this evening katha, my dear friends, is such a wonderful katha. One, parents, do not allow your young children to be unsupervised. At all, no, 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 no. Sita made one statement, and you see how much troubles it had after? She wanted the golden deer. After that, my dear friends, the whole series of troubles followed. As I tell parents, you don't have to make more than one mistake. One mistake is enough to destroy the lifetime of a child. Isn't that so? One mistake can destroy the lifetime of your child. So parents, as you listen to me on www.dharamkiavaj and on Pandit Vishnu Live on Facebook, please put that extra. Your children might feel that, okay, you're nosy. They're quick to say that all you as old people, all you're over nosy. But my dear friends, no matter how much Anushka would say, no, you can't go, I'll make it away sometimes and I'll sit down in the car and I'll just go. And I actually straight, I say, if you have a boyfriend, I have nothing to hide. Is your father you're caring for a ride? You're old enough to have a boyfriend. Nothing wrong. So what you hiding? Prem Sabole Srinam Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. But we have the young boys in them who like to tell the tales and the lies to get themselves the way they want it. And when the trouble comes, who will be the first to be there? Always remember that. Question yourself that. If you feel the parents are too nosy, as I always say, give them back what they give to you. Give them back and go on your own strength and see where you will finish and where you will end. I end my katha here this evening. Come tomorrow evening. This katha goes wonderful. So this evening katha tells us, one is a lesson for parents. Two, children must know that parents must be aware where you are. If you tell the parents that you're going, we ain't going with you, but if you tell us that you're going to the Gulf City Mall, don't reach C3. Because if we know that you're in Gulf City Mall, we know that you're in Gulf City Mall and you're safe. And the shooting take place in C3, so you don't have to worry about them because my children in Gulf City Mall. But then to get a message home that your child gets shot on the toe because they was in C3 and it had a little shooting there. How are you going to feel as a parent knowing that your child is in Gulf City Mall? So children, we must be very honest, we must be very truthful. Because if the king had really sent a senior there with him, when that sage warned the child and tell her, don't use that thorn and choke the ant's nest. If they had somebody there who was, just moving around, they would have taken control of it. But she decided, no, I'm not going to listen to nobody. I am going to do what I want to do. When the trouble comes now, is she and she alone have to face the trouble. The father begged to try to see how he could pay himself out of it, but he couldn't. But it has been the worries. Who has been the worries? The father was in the worries. He begged the king all kind of, and the saint all kind of beg. But my dear friends, the price of the action had to come. Prem Sabale Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. So this brings me to the end of the discourse for this evening. We will now have the cracking of the coconut and our arti. So Selwyn, come. Yeah, there's a coconut there with you. Please, all those who put a little coconut, come. Yeah. Yes, children, come on. You'll have to do arti with daddy and mommy. Anybody angry with me this evening for this katha? Ravi, you angry with me for this katha? Why? Well, Ravi, just tell me, yes, he angry for the katha. I say angry. Prem Sabale Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan Ki. Take all the coconut, come on this side here a little bit. All please stand. And everybody will have an opportunity to come and do your arati, but we just controlling it. We would not take too much people at the same time. Right. Pray now in all your own words. Hari Om Tat Sat Om Sri Krishna Krishna Sagyai Pavityamam Asya Vidya Pradveshi Divala Kalipate Saptami Vaivasmanvantar Kalipatam Charani Jambu Dvipe West Indies Kande Arvat Arike Desh Antargati Trinidad Desh. Hari Om Tat Sat, call where you're living. Om Sri Chetri Grami Bhautavatari Tad Parhi Namo Narayanaya Namo Namaham Sri Gotra Namayam Sri Dehik Devik Bhautik Tapatra Nirvamartya Devi Grahari Shimani Madhava Hari Om Sri Adshakti Devi Durga Mata Ki Jai. Crack. Durga Devi Mata Ki Jai. Give me your note so you could cross over to a chant. Suno Meri Devi. Suno Mere Devi Parvat Bhashini तेरा पारन पाया सुनो मेरे देवी
तेरा पार
मेरे देवी पर्वत वासिनी तेरा पारन पाया सुनो मेरे देवी पर्वत वासिनी तेरा पारन पाया तेरा पारन पाया हो मैया तेरा पारन पाया हो मैया सुनो मेरे
पार न पाया। सुनो मेरे देवी पर्वतवासिनी, तेरा पार न पाया। दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
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 दुर्गे माँ दुर्गे दुर्गे जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काली कृपालिनी माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काली कृपालिनी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
देवी जय 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 माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ। दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ। दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काली कृपालिनी माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काली कृपालिनी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
देवी जय 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 माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
देवी दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
देवी दुर्गे माँ दुर्गे दुर्गे जय जय माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काली कृपालिनी माँ।
काली कपालिनी माँ।
काली कृपालिनी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
जगदोधारिणी माँ।
देवी जय 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 माँ।
दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ।
देवी दुर्गे 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 देवी दुर्गे जय जय माँ
देवी दुर्गे जय जय माँ
देवी दुर्गे जय जय माँ देवी दुर्गे जय जय माँ
देवी दुर्गे जय जय
सुनो मेरे देवी
पर्वतवासिनी
तेरा पारण पाया सुनो मेरे देवी
पर्वतवासिनी तेरा
this wonderful evening
सुनो
we surrender ourselves at your lotus-like feet. O Divine Mother, those who are sick, those who need your healing hands, this evening, O Man, touch them with your miraculous hands. O Divine Mother, those whose minds are agitated, we ask you this evening, O Ma, embrace them with your arms of compassion. This evening, O Divine Ma, those who have lost their direction, give them the lamp of your knowledge. O Divine Mother, you are so loving, you are so kind. Embrace us all. O Divine Mother, how wonderful is your blessing. How wonderful is your embrace. O Divine Mother, last evening we ask of you to guide the hands of the doctors who have performed surgery today on two wonderful people who are very close to Dharam Ki Awaaz. I know the first one is very successful. I have not been able to get words on the second one. But I sure by your faith, O Ma, I know all things are well. We thank you very much for your blessings and your touch to these two wonderful devotees who surrender themselves to you, O Ma. And they had to go through this procedures today. O Divine Mother, for all those, whether we know or we don't know, whether they're close to Dharam Ki Awaaz or not, all those who need your healing hands this evening, O Ma, touch them in a very special way. Touch them in a very special way, O Divine Mother. Your children are crying out for help. O Divine Mother, our land needs your help. Help our Trinidad and Tobago, O Ma. O Divine Mother, let us feel that peace of yours. Let us feel that peace of ours into our minds this evening. O Divine Mother, please, as we present ourselves to you, Om Satoma Sati Gamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorama अमृतं गमया ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च शिखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्ति ॐ शान्ति I am a peaceful soul. Om Shanti Om. I am a peaceful soul. Om Shanti Om. I am a peaceful soul. Friends, feel that peace within you this evening. Feel that shanti. Do let nothing disturb that peace this evening. Om Shanti Om. 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 Feel the blessings of the Divine Mother. आज शक्ति देवी दुर्गा माता की, शंकर भगवान की, सनातन धर्म की, ओम श्री गुरुदेवता की जय जय सीताराम. May you all please have your seat. Before we close this evening, we have the nutmegs to crack. But today is also my cousin's birthday, and I want to sing one line of happy birthday for her. So Vashti, happy birthday. तुम्ही जन्मदिन के बराई हमार हजारों बरस की उम्र हो तुम्हारी. तुम्ही जन्मदिन के बराई हमारी. It's a happy, happy, happy day. It's a holy, holy, holy day. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Hey! It's a holy, holy, holy day. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. God bless you, God bless you, may He bless you every day. God bless you, God bless you, may He bless you every day. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Hey!
It's a happy, happy, happy day. It's a holy, holy, holy day.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. So my dear friends, all of you only know my cousins on my father's side. This is my mamu's daughter. So this is my cousin on my mother's side, you know. And so rare I get to meet them from on that side. So when Vashti is the closest to us, so when I meet with Vashti, I feel so much more like Ma and Ma around, you know. So Vashti is my cousin on my mother's side. Everybody knows Guarakara, my father, every one of my cousins up there. Prem Sabali Srinam Chandra Bhagavane Ki. So when I said my cousin, you know, everybody maybe think is that way. Prem Sabali, come. Selwyn, for you come. Vashti, today is your birthday, come up and with your children and you'll crack out the nutmegs there. How much are you? 5 of you? And there's 3 children, and right. So 5 and 4 is 9, right? Come. You ready, Selwyn? All right. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapalini Durga Chama Shive Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namastate Ad Shakti Devi Durga Mata Ki Jai. Next one. Ad Shakti Devi Durga Mata Ki Jai. Ad Shakti Devi Durga Mata Ki Jai. Not so easy. Ad Shakti Devi Durga Mata Ki Jai. That is it. All right, come Vashti, go ahead. Ad Shakti Devi Durga Mata Ki Jai. 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 Durga Devi Mata Ki. Arti and Prasad will come to you now. Sitaram.